Hi folks, Tristan from Noisegate here with an exciting first look at Arturia's brand new software synth. It's not called Guitar, just ignore this writing here. We received a special pre-release version of the program. I guess that's the insider code name they were going with. It is in fact called Pigments. And as you can see, it's a bit of a monster. There's a lot to potentially go through here. I'm not going to cover absolutely everything. I just want to go through some of the basics and show off some of the cool things I've discovered in the limited time I've had to play around with it. So at its heart, Pigment is a two-engine synth. Each engine has two types, either analog or wavetable. Analog is an analog modeling 3-oscillator subtractor synth, which of course we all know Arturia does very well. Cute. We even have this drift knob here if we want to add a bit of aged detunedness to it. Over in the filter section, we have two filter slots. Each has 8 filter types. Some familiar looking types here: Mini, Matrix 12, SEM. They all sound great. And there's some more unusual types here, such as this comb filter. So each engine can be routed to either or both filters, or somewhere in between. And the two filters can be configured in either series or parallel, or anywhere in between. So lots and lots of flexibility as far as filter routing goes. So that's just a little bit about the analog side of things. Let's look at the wavetable engine, which is probably what people are going to be most interested in. Of course, we've got plenty of wavetables to choose from, across 5 categories, anywhere from very simple to very exotic. Let's start off with something simple. Here's a basic waveform, which we can view in either 2D view or 3D view. 3D is great for giving you an overview of where we are in the wavetable as we step through with a position knob here. Oh, let's go back to a more regular filter type here, so it's not screaming at us. Okay, we're basically blending from sine wave through to a square wave. So that's in 3D view. 2D view is great for visualizing all the destruction we're applying, mostly by this modulator section here. So modulator is actually a second waveform. In this case, it's a sine wave, but it can be a number of other waveforms. We can hear the modulator by bringing up its volume here. But that's not very fun. Let's use the modulator to modulate various parameters, such as the frequency modulation, or phase modulation, or phase distortion, or of course wavefolding. Which will be familiar to you Mini Brute or Matrix Brute owners, or Micro Brute. Okay, at this point I want to show you how easy it is to assign modulations inside of Pigment. Say we want to modulate this wavetable position with the mod wheel. There's a few ways we can do it. One, we can just click on this plus button here, go down and find mod wheel and just drag the amount up, and we're done. Pretty straightforward. Another way is to start with the modulation source, in this case the mod wheel, and then just hover over whatever parameters we want to modulate and drag up or down. Let's modulate the wavetable position, and the filter cutoff, and the filter drive. That's 3 parameters, all just with the mod wheel. Okay, so really straightforward. As you can see, we've got tons of modulation sources, each of which can modulate basically as many parameters as you want simultaneously. If there is a limit, I haven't found it yet. So let's modulate this wavefolding parameter with, let's not use the envelopes or the LFO, let's go to functions. This allows us to draw our own modulation shape just by adding breakpoints. That's not a breakpoint. Sorry, I got carried away. All right, let's try that out. Let's assign function 1 to wavefolding amount. Let's do both parameters. Okay, that could be more interesting, admittedly. Let's save time and find a preset. Here's one called Funny Gates. Let's try that out. Alright, that sounded pretty cool. There's even this regen function, which I haven't quite figured out what it does yet, but if you just keep dragging up, it seems to create variations of this shape somehow. Good for just stumbling onto some random happy accidents. There's a lot of that going on inside of Pigment. Cool, that's just a little bit about the wavetable side of things. Let's move over to the effects section and see what goes on here. Here we have 3 effects buses, 2 inserts and 1 send, each of which has 3 effect slots. So let's go to our effects bus A, get rid of the second slot, and add a bit of distortion. Let's turn that down a little bit. Let's move over to our second slot, add a bit crusher effect. And a call up a preset. Let's try this a lo-fi one. Pretty cool, but let's go over to our random modulation generators. There's one here called Turing, or Turing if you will. And let's assign that to the downsample amount. Pretty cool. Let's go over to the effects send section, add a bit of reverb. Alright, there's lots to play around with here, let's move on. So that's the synth section and the effects section. Let's take a quick look at the sequences section. Obviously a ton to go through here. We've got 6 different sequencer lanes: pitch, octave, velocity, trigger probability, gate length, and slide. There's already a lot going on in this preset, so let's just jump to something more simple, like a bass patch. Sounds good. The default sequence is pretty boring. Let's slow that down a bit. Okay, we can choose a scale, for example, natural minor, and just start adding random notes. Which is okay, but what we find at the end of each sequence lane is the word randomize, followed by an amount. So the number here is the amount of randomness that can be potentially applied to each sequencer lane. 1 being the most, 0 being none. Let's just crank everything up to 1. That's a sentence I've never said before. And when I click on this trigger button, it'll just randomize everything. Cool, let's try that. Nice, I like it. If we want even more randomness, we can go to the cycle section here and tell it to randomize everything again every, say, 4 bars, 2 bars, 1 bar, even half a bar. Let's go 1 bar. I'm just playing around with some of the macro knobs here, which will be familiar to you Matrix Brute owners. This has just been a quick first look at Arturia's brand new, completely original soft synth, and it's a beast. So definitely try it out if you get a chance, and please leave any comments or questions in the section below. We'll get to them if we can. Thanks for watching.